Hey, what's up guys? Aaron Kubitz, personal trainer at Functional Aesthetics EC. So in today's video, I'm going to be just basically showing a few clips from a recent workout that I did, mainly focusing on the upper chest as well as the back. So it was a upper chest exercise, and one of my favorite supersets is to do bench pressing followed by bent over barbell rows. So since this was an upper chest workout, I made a little bit of a different variation of that. So instead of doing barbell rows, I did some other exercises that kind of hit a similar angle. So whereas you're pretty much in that perpendicular to the chest when you do the bench press, and you're perpendicular to the back when you're doing the row, since with the incline press you're more of that angle, you got more of that about 30-degree angle to the chest when you're doing it. Decided to do a similar angle for the back to kind of pair those two together and get kind of that push-pull action in a similar but opposing planes of motion. And yeah, I think I also threw a little bit of biceps work in there too for the pulling component. Really a kind of an unorthodox workout. I think a lot of times when some traditional exercise schemes when you're putting together workouts would be doing back and biceps together, because they're both pulling exercises. So if you're doing, like, say for example deadlifts, that would be like your main lift. You'd follow it up with maybe doing like bent over barbell rows, which is again a compound movement that's going to be incorporating a lot of muscles and bigger muscle groups, and then finishing off with some biceps work, because that's a smaller muscle group and doesn't require as much energy. So obviously you'd want to leave it towards the end of your workout when you've already used up a lot of your energy. Similar thing with, if you're doing bench presses, finishing off the bench press workout with some isolated tricep work can help you to help improve the strength, or get a little extra work for those triceps to help you maybe even potentially get stronger in if the lockout portion of the bench press is where you're weak. You can focus some work on the triceps. But if that is your goal, I would say probably doing it more on a separate workout when you're not already fatigued from doing the bench pressing. So doing like skull crushers and close grip bench press and things like that to more closely target and focus on the triceps to increase that lockout position. Other than that, just if your main goal is just bodybuilding and building more muscle and not necessarily a powerlifting goal, adding those tricep movements at the end can help to really streamline your workouts. So instead of having a separate arm workout, you can just throw in the triceps work at the end of the bench press or shoulder pressing workout. Or the same thing comes for when you're doing biceps. So throw the biceps in at the end of the back workout, rather than having a separate workout specifically for biceps. As you get more advanced, and you have those full body workouts, or even just those split workouts like that, are becoming not as challenging, and you need a little bit more total volume to really challenge yourself, you might want to again focus strictly on maybe your rowing, your vertical pulling exercises, your deadlifts on your pull days, and then having separate workout dedicated strictly to arm training. But I think for most beginners, first 3 to 6 months of your training, work on full body routines. Do that 2 to 3 days a week where you're hitting every muscle group in the body with each workout. Focus on, in the beginning, between that 10 to 20 repetitions range, just to build that muscular endurance, get comfortable with the technique, build ligament strength. And then after a while of doing that, then you can start adding a little bit more sets, increasing the weight, doing a little bit lower repetitions, focusing more on hypertrophy or building muscles, so working in that 8 to probably like 12 repetition range as a general rule of thumb. And then if you want to really focus on building that strength, then you can have multiple days where you're training specific lifts, so bench press, squat, deadlift, overhead pressing, and focusing on lower rep ranges. So usually between that 3 to 5 repetitions, maybe as high as 8 repetitions for your strength, but usually in that 3 to 5 repetition range, and sometimes as low as doing like a 1 rep max or something. And then for like general population, I think, or even just if your main goal is to just build more muscle, varying between all those continuums, having most of your training being, say, in the hypertrophy phase of 8 to 12 repetitions, but going outside of that from time to time to kind of shock the muscles and develop a little bit more strength. So very long intro there, just to kind of give you some basics on the general workout, exercise routines set up for different strength training goals, and then kind of showing you what I'm currently doing, which is pretty unorthodox in the terms of how to design a strength training program, but it's just something that I'm currently doing. So without further ado, we'll get into the actual workout video, and I'll see you on the flip side. And don't hesitate to leave any comments below if you have any questions about why I'm doing a certain exercise or something like that. It should be pretty straightforward, but if you do have any questions, just let me know. Make sure you hit that like button if you like the content, and if this is providing you any sort of value. And if you'd like to see more content like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button in the lower right hand corner of the screen. All right guys, we'll see y'all we will see you on the flip side of the video. Alright guys, thanks again for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully it provided you with some ideas for how to structure your workouts. I don't think that I spent a lot of time at the beginning of the video explaining exactly why I was doing some of the stuff, mainly just kind of the push-pull routine to kind of balance out the shoulder joint between the pushing and the pressing. As a general rule of thumb, you want to be doing twice as many pulling exercises as you are doing pushing exercises in the course of a week, or in the lifetime term of your strength training. Inter-workout, it's maybe not quite as important. You can have a separate pulling day or something for every, and then combine the pulling with the pushing on some of your exercises to kind of get that total, 2-to-1 effect of pulling to pushing. Other than that, I think it's good, as far as your pressing exercises, spend some time, even amount of time between, doing flat barbell bench presses, incline bench presses, doing stuff where you're doing, full range of motion, so deficit push-ups, doing, chest flies, things like that, where you're stretching the muscles out. Those are particularly helpful for increasing range of motion to get more blood flow in there. Also increasing the time under tension, increasing end range strength to prevent ligament tears and tendon tears and stuff like that when you're pushing heavier weight. And also that full range of motion is also really more important when you're trying to build more muscle mass. And so while you can be really strong at a smaller muscle size, ultimately the more muscle you have, the more potential you're going to have for developing more strength. So while you can be strong at a smaller size, because strength is a skill set and it's about developing the skill to recruit the maximal amount of muscle fibers all at once to fire it in unison to move that weight. Ultimately, if you have more muscle fibers to fire with, you're going to have more potential for strength. Now, to build more muscle, it's generally that time under tension thing is one of the greatest determinants of how much muscle mass you're going to build. So that's why a lot of times bodybuilders aren't necessarily as strong as somebody who's trained strictly for strength, like a power lifter. However, if they started doing some training to train for 1 rep max strength, they would quickly get to a point where they would be extremely strong, just because they have that good solid base of muscular hypertrophy, which is going to help them have that base to go forward. And that's why I think for a lot of powerlifting programs, it's a good idea to start out with basic bodybuilding to help increase your muscle mass a little bit before you start lifting a little bit heavier weights. So again, if you like the video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button in the lower right hand corner of the screen. We'll see you all next time for more health and fitness related information. Thanks, guys.